Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Roseville Wrecking Ball. The Roseville Wrecking Ball.
Joshua Shrum. He is a very talented steward, very knowledgeable.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. This is one of those podcasts where I listen to every episode. I love what he's putting out there.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. Josh Shrum.
Parcels of knowledge. Does a fantastic job with that podcast.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball. He is an Article 8 scholar, and thank God. We need Article 8 scholars right now.
Tune into the Parcels of Knowledge podcast while you're on the route. That's the mailman's playbook, brother.
Good morning and welcome back to Parcels of Knowledge, the podcast dedicated to delivering knowledge to the city letter carrier with your host, the Roseville Wrecking Ball. Today we have Region 10 candidate here with me for a special on-the-spot interview. So if you don't mind, would you be able to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Karrie Blough. I work for Region 10. We cover Texas and New Mexico. I'm currently a regional administrative assistant with Region 10, and I'm running for national business agent.
Awesome. Good to hear. Well, it's good to always have more competition. And as I understand, Sean Boyd is moving on to something different, right?
Correct. He's running for Director of Safety and Health.
Okay. That's interesting. That's pretty cool. That's exciting news. Now, I did get a bunch of questions submitted, and they gave people short notice.
Sure.
And so I only got a handful. But why did you decide to run for NBA of Region 10?
Well, it's that's been a goal of mine for a very long time. I have been an REA for this region for November will be 9 years. If you count the months that I was working at the MBA's office prior to that, it would be closer to 10. I traveled and commuted and did that job before it was actually awarded to me so that I could go and show them that I could do it and learn things. And so I've done that since then, since November of 2017. At this point, with there being an opening and the ability to do it, I'm excited to run for national business agent. I've been wanting to get to this point for a very long time in my career.
Awesome. Let's see. Next question is, ask why the Region 10 seating is so empty. I was surprised to see so many open seats. Is it a symptom of poor choices for convention location?
I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I haven't really noticed there being a mass amount of empty seating. I don't know if somebody walked by maybe when people were going to lunch or something, but our region has been pretty full. I've been all over it, so I've not seen a whole lot of empty seats. Maybe people had left. Maybe they had gone to get something to eat. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't really fact check these, so I don't know if that's true.
I do like the convention location. I think the convention center is great, and it works out well, I believe.
Awesome. She's been they're referring to you. Mm-hmm. She's been an RAA for almost 9 years. What roles for the NALC did she fulfill before that?
So I guess maybe I could just go back from the beginning and then get up to that, work my way up to that. So I started January of 2000, and in 2005, I was asked to be the alternate steward in my office. That was in January of 2005. And at that point, up until then, I had just really tried hard to educate myself. I would go to branch meetings, but I wasn't really super involved to the extent that I would have liked to have been, but I certainly learned a lot, and I think the carriers in my office saw that and appreciated it and asked me to become a steward, so I did. Not long after that, I became chief steward of the office, and during that time, this was in Austin. I started out in Austin, by the way. And I ultimately became branch secretary. That was in 2007. In 2008, I was honored to be chosen to go to Leadership Academy. It was Class 6. And after that, I or during that time, really, I was the full-time Formal A for Austin. I was the only one handling Formal A grievances in Austin for several years. And I also became vice president in Austin. That's branch 181. And then I was asked to go to dispute resolution training. That was in 2010. And by 2011, I was offered a position as a primary DRT member out of Rio Grande District, which was in San Antonio. So unfortunately, I had to move to San Antonio for the job, but I still kept my position in Austin for a while, and I kept my VP position and my route, and eventually I went ahead and transferred. I had submitted a transfer through e-reassigned to transfer to San Antonio. I just want to point out that I've never taken these jobs for granted. I always know that I could be carrying at any time, and I don't want to have to uproot my family whenever I'm doing these jobs, so I'm going to carry mail wherever I'm close, or wherever's close to me. So I got an assignment in San Antonio, and I ended up transferring my membership there. I worked at Step B until 2017, until I was hired on at the MBA's office in November of 2017, and then I've been there since as an REA.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You may have already covered it, but from what I heard, you were a Leadership Academy instructor?
I wasn't a Leadership Academy instructor. I went to Leadership Academy, but I was a DRT instructor, Step B instructor for many years, from January 2016 until May of 2024. So I did that for 8 years. The last 2 years of me doing it, I was actually the lead instructor. On NALC side, we of course have counterparts, and so there's a lead USPS and then a lead NALC. So I certified many people in that 8 years for our Step B process.
I do want to clarify the reason why I made an accident. There's a distinction here. They actually said that she was their mentor when they went to leadership.
Oh,
so you were people's mentor before.
Yeah. So at Leadership Academy, that's something that they want us to do. That's something that we learn, is to make sure whatever we're being taught, that we're taking that back to our branches and that we continue that on. I actually just agreed to be someone's mentor just the other day, and when we submit the essays, hopefully she'll get picked, and there'll be another Leadership Academy graduate.
That's awesome. Let's see. What is your opinion of the current leadership at National?
Well, I think there are definitely issues. I don't think there's any secret there. My opinion is that there needs to be changes made. I think we've already seen the changes that are going to come, and otherwise, I look forward to seeing those changes. I know that there are things that I want to do for our region that, as an REA for all these years, there are plenty of times whenever there's something that I would like to implement or do and can't really do that. So I'm hoping I get the opportunity to do that as MBA.
Awesome. Let's see. What is your idea of a successful MBA, and how do you plan to implement it if you're elected?
So I think a successful MBA is one that can communicate with the entirety of the membership. And I feel like within my region, and I think this is across the country right now, I feel like there are definitely people that feel like they've been disenfranchised and they're not being heard. And I've seen that over the years, where people feel like they're being looked over within their branch and not being utilized, and then that in turn kind of translates into who we know that is out there for us to utilize. We have over 15,000 members in our region. There's no way to know all of them, and we really count highly on our branch presidents, on our Step B, on our arbitration advocates to let us know whenever they see some talent that we could try to harness, and we really do try to reach out for that. We have classes regularly at our regional schools where we go over all the different things and roles that anybody could do in the NALC, because there's so much work to be had. There's no shortage of work in NALC. We need people to come out and do this work. And so whenever we reach out to those branches, we really count on those branch presidents to give us that feedback and not hold anyone back. And I'd like to try to implement a method of finding that talent without having to do that. And there's got to be a way.
All right.
And I plan to find it.
Region 10 has a huge lack of an online presence and almost zero communication with the rank and file, although, again, I don't fact check that. So what do you intend to do about this if you're elected?
So in terms of an online presence, I don't know if that means like a Region 10 social media page or something. Maybe
I imagine,
I'm not sure.
yeah.
Maybe so. I'd be open to that. That sounds like fun. I feel like Sean and me, Richard, Daitra, Zach. I feel like we all regularly are communicating with the field. I know that my phone certainly doesn't stop morning, noon, and night, and when I'm on vacations and whenever, and that's for all of us. We're there and available for people who need us, and maybe people who don't need us as regularly don't see that or feel that because we're really focusing on where the need is. Sean is regularly sending out updates, anything that comes in from headquarters or anything that he feels like is important to the membership, he's sending that out. If we bring up something that, hey, this would be great if people would hear about it, he'll tell us, well, formulate it so I can get it out to all of the branch presidents, and we do that. We try to do what we can about making sure we're sharing everything we can on social media. We're all on social media. We're all regularly sharing things. I don't know. I feel like I have so much communication with so many people in our region that I just can't really relate to the question well enough to be able to say what would I do different or what could I do more of. But that's what I want to know. If there's an idea or something, then I'd like to know about it. Like, this is my second podcast I've ever been on. I think this is really cool. It's a great way to get the information
What's the
out.
first one?
Keith out of I called him Keith again. He's gonna
Oh,
kill me.
you were on the.
I was on the women's.
leadership, female
Yes.
leadership, or whatever.
I'm apologizing ahead of time. I'm so sorry I messed that up. I should have given the right name of the podcast because it's awesome. I think that's great what he's doing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to do it, and
I'll pull it up right now so we don't get it wrong.
Please do. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I feel horrible.
Well, everyone knows about the podcast. It's a great podcast.
It
and
really
if you don't
is.
know about it, then you should probably check it out. It's
Those of us who have been on it are supposed to be getting up at some point at the mic at convention this week.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I was looking over your shoulder.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. I'm actually trying to find
I've got it right here too. Let me.
Oh, the history of female leadership in the NALC.
Yes.
And that's by Craig Schaefer.
Craig, yeah, I know, and I did that before. Whenever I saw him, I have this person in my mind with his name from Branch 181, actually. Hi, Keith Gregory, and I just kind of go to that name, and that's my mistake. But yeah, Craig, he did a great job, and he's doing a great job presenting all these women out there in NALC who I know feel the same level of maybe frustration and also a bit of disenfranchisement from me, like I do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good podcast. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to move on to just a couple questions I have. I heard you're a fighter, and I'm a fighter. That's why they call me the Roseville Wrecking Ball. I file like 600 grievances a year,
I love it.
We have a lot of fun. But
yeah,
I heard you're a fighter. Can you give me examples of where you fought, certain fights that you're proud of?
Sure. Well, let me think.
I know it's on short
notice. I know it's on the fly. Well, so I guess the most recent example I would like to use is I was asked by someone yesterday about a concern where we've had a lot of constructive suspensions going on in a particular installation, and I mean they lose all of them and they don't care. They lose them at step B, but they want to make sure it gets up to step B and takes that time away from them. And it's really a form of financial harassment, and that's not something that I think we talk about enough. So when I was asked about that yesterday, what can we do about maybe a contract case with that? I'm like, well, I'm glad you asked. I actually did that last January. I filed a financial it was a harassment case, but it was due to this financial harassment, abusing and weaponizing 16.7 just to harm people. Management knows they're not going to win. They know it's wrong. They know they're going to take money away from these people, and that's all they care about is hurting them in the end, and then having them wait months and months knowing that it takes Egan 6, 7, 8 months to get them their back pay back. So even when they win, they lose. Yep. And so I think this particular installation, this is the installation that I filed the grievance at, they were up to like 7 of these suspensions. And so I went out investigated it. I filed a grievance on it. I put together a case file. It went to Step B. It was impassed. Right before arbitration, management reached out and they wanted to pre-arb it, and they pre-arbed it exactly for what I asked for, and which was going to be a joint climate assessment, which I love doing. I love going in on joint climate assessments with management because they get to go in and sit down with the carrier and actually hear what the problems are. And they can't ever, they can't then say, oh, there's not really a problem here, like they do at the IMIPs, which I think are a complete waste of time. Whenever it's a joint climate assessment, I get a partner from labor, and we go in, sit down, we question these carriers and find out exactly what's going wrong. And so as a result of this pre-arb that we did, which I also signed off on, we went and we did this joint climate assessment and this installation. And ultimately, as a result of the work that we did, not just me, but the branch, the carriers, they were great. They really stepped up. They wrote statements. They gave interviews. That postmaster is up for removal. She's been out for months now. They took her out months ago, and she's actually up for removal and fighting it, of course. We'll see what happens there. And then the supervisor that was really giving them a lot of trouble, they moved her to a different office. So carriers in that office are so happy, and I get to hear about that regularly, and that just makes me feel good. I just like it. And so I sent the person that was asking me yesterday, I sent him all the information. I sent him my case file, my contentions, the impasse, and the pre-arb, and said, sick them, go.
Man, you got to send it to me too, because I'd be interested in doing, I know Region 10 has success in constructive suspensions grievances. I'd like to do a grievance starter on that. That'd be cool.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
2 more questions. How have you been enjoying the convention so far?
Oh, I love it.
What do you think about the events that unfolded so far? Does he have any opinions about anything?
Sure. I mean, I love convention. I think it's great. I love the opportunity to hear all the different points of view. I love that there are so many new people here this time. Sometimes conventions can get a little boring, and it certainly hasn't been boring. And I like that there's so many people that are interested and involved and are trying to learn about the processes, because I think there are a lot of people that don't understand our processes. I've noticed a lot through my viewings of social media. I just see, comments and frustrations, and sometimes it's centered on just really not understanding how things work. There are a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. I've had a lot of conversations about that this week with different people, not understanding why things are the way they are, and then whenever it's explained, then it's like, okay, well, that actually makes sense. I don't know if I should talk about particular amendments or anything like that.
You're welcome to, but you don't have to.
I don't know. Well, so with the amendment to hear things today, I was good with that. I voted for it. Yeah, if they want, people want to hear it today, let's hear it today and get it over with instead of waiting until, until the last minute. No big deal. I didn't think that was a problem, and I think so far that's worked out well. We've gotten through the business. We've obviously been able to educate more people, I think, by making sure that we are doing that today, and I think a lot of people learned a lot of things today. And and then just, different amendments, I like to learn and see what people want to do, and I either agree with it or I don't, and I also respect that you agree with it or you don't. But I try to make sure that I'm looking at what I think is right based on my experience and what I know. And if I see that there are people that, aren't voting in that direction, it's just important to me that at least they know the full picture. If you know the full picture and that's still your answer, sweet, then do that. But I always say just at least ask questions, make sure you read up on it, understand the processes, and then make your decisions there.
Awesome. I appreciate your insight. I think that was pretty cool. Now, do you have any particular campaign goals for, not only do you have any particular campaign goals to lay out, like what you plan to accomplish, but also, is there any type of websites or social media that people can go to identify your campaign in the future? Do you have that set up yet?
I don't. I'm a relatively new candidate. So I don't have a whole lot going on. I just got buttons today. So I was very excited to be able to have an opportunity to jump in and do this. So no, I don't have anything set up yet, but maybe I will. In terms of my goals as national business agent, yeah, I have a lot of goals. I think I've talked about a couple of them. One is making sure to try and find the talent that we are regularly looking for. So whenever it comes time to try and fill positions, we do struggle. We struggle to find people that are interested, and we struggle to find people that are ready for it. I don't think it's said enough or understood enough how complicated these roles can be. Like, for example, with our office, with the things that our national business agent needs to be able to know and do, the majority of what we do in our office has to do with arbitration. That's scheduling and appealing and advocating, most importantly advocating cases, and mentoring our advocates to make sure that our message is being received by the arbitrators so we can get cases decided in our favor. That's what we want. And then also we oversee Step B, and I have a subject that I'm like very interested in, and it's OWCP, and that's not something that a lot of people are interested in, but I really, really love all the aspects of OWCP. So I do try to take as much of that as I can from my office so that I can learn whatever I can. But I feel like I've really honed that skill a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate people like you,
whether it be through DOL stuff or OHC, it's interesting to me.
That's not me. I don't like OWCP.
Yeah, well, I do for some reason. I think some people just like it. Certainly our RWCAs, they wouldn't do that job if they didn't just enjoy it. So I do understand there being kind of an attraction to it. Plus, I kind of like, really knowing about something and understanding something that, it's kind of hard, I think, for some people to understand. So that being said, those are all things that you really need to be able to know. And the training that we give, going out and giving the there's all kinds of training that I just feel like I've become pretty good at. I get told I'm good at training, so I like to think that I am. JSVBW, grievance process, noncompliance, contract, anything. I mean, I don't feel like there's anything that I can't teach if I have the material. So those are things that are very important to know how to do. So when I mentioned earlier that I spent months trying to get this RAA position, and trying out for it. I don't think I was first pick for it, but I certainly worked hard for it. I submitted a resume. I actually had a baby at the time, and he was about 3 years old, and I would bring my cousin with me to Houston, drive from San Antonio to Houston and get a hotel room and stay there Monday through Friday, work in the MBA's office all day, and then come home to them at the hotel and spend time with my baby and drive home on the weekends. And I really put in a lot of time and effort to get to where I was at that point, and during that time I really had to learn what we did in that office. It takes time to learn what we do in that office and to get good at it, so that we're giving the best product possible to our membership. It's so important to just have that level of experience. So I want to find that. I know there's people out there that have those abilities, that have the ability to understand things that are complicated to others, and who can communicate those things to others. And that's what I want to try and do, is find a way to harness that. And I'm open to suggestions. Like
developing new leadership, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Developing new leadership. We have so much need. There's so much work to be done, and we're regularly asking for it. And we do, it does take a while for that to happen.
All right. So it was good having you on, but with any other investigative interview, I got to ask the objective question: is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Okay.
And there you have it, folks. That's the new candidate for Region 10 NBA. You get a listen to do this investigative interview, and you decide, is she the right choice for Region 10 NBA. Hopefully you learned something valuable today, and as always, have a good day.
If these guys are getting educated, we will be in big trouble.
Management's been weighing you down like a bag of wet catalogs, but you don't gotta take it. You strap on the elbow of education, dig it?
Ladies Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Roseville Wrecking Ball. The Roseville Wrecking Ball.
The Roseville Wrecking Ball is an Article 8 scholar, and thank God, we need Article 8 scholars right now. The Grievous Genius and the Roseville Wrecking Ball doing amazing work.
Tune into the Parcels of Knowledge podcast while you're on the route. That's the Mailman's Playbook, brother.